सो स्थिति, समय और स्थान कभी भी तीन एक साथ वापस नहीं आते उसी जगह पे.
India is where everything was born, from your physics to your science to everything, astrology,
Vishwaguru,
everything.
The right karma is where you're only thinking of what you have to do and you do not think of what you get back in return. That's correct karma.
Do you think Kalyug is already here and it's giving us all a warning?
Karma happens at the thought level. A knife cures in the hand of a surgeon and it kills in the hand of a robber. So you have to see the same thing will come to you. You have to know what you're using it for. So it's the intent.
Self-love is not just about applying a mask on your face and chilling with your friends. It's much deeper.
आज Google auntie बन गई है. That's a problem. Let's understand that total darkness and total light are both the same thing. Tattvam asi means I am in this universe and the universe is in me.
In today's episode of Breaking Stereotypes, we are going to take a deep dive within ourselves, understand who we are, question our existence, and know what is our role as human beings in today's yug. Today we have with us Dr Neetika Modi, a dental surgeon, director of Studio Aesthetic Clinic in Mumbai, which is a dentofacial clinic, and also a holistic wellness expert. She is also a certified Vedanta seeker and the author of the book Antim, The Last Avatar. Welcome to the show Breaking Stereotypes, where we embrace every choice, empower every thought, and encourage every individual to create a change. Presented by the SAP Media, sponsored by Dr. Stuti Shukla's Elements of Aesthetics, and production partner Pack Studios. I'm your host, Sudakshana Chatla, founder of the SAP Media. Welcome and namaste. Welcome to the show Breaking Stereotypes, Dr. Neetika. We're so happy to have you, and I'm grateful that you have given your time and an opportunity to interview you and share all your insights, your knowledge, your wisdom with the audience today.
Thank you for having me here, Sudakshana. You're one of my favorite people in the younger generation. I love the way you're so blending, the Indian dharmic ways, our cultural roots, and still moving ahead. You're one of the younger people who I really admire. So I'm happy to be at your show.
Thank you so much, Doc. Let's begin. One of the very important things that I want to know personally, I've seen you creating art with dentistry at the Studio Aesthetic Clinic, and then there are moments when you're doing your havans and pujas and talking about Vedantas, and then holistic wellness. All of these together, one side is the proof of medicine and science, the other side is the Indian traditions and cultures. How do you blend them together?
So, Sudakshana, our body is an amazing magical machine with 40 trillion cells all working together in unison. And it's mind-boggling that how each part of our body is connected to another part of the body. So today, as we are moving in modern day practice in medicine, we're becoming more and more focused on that one part where we're getting super specialists as doctors. But the real essence is when you understand the entire functionality of the body. Now, we had our seers ages back, eons back, who had worked on this philosophy. So whether they were doctors, whether they were astronomers, astrologers, all of them were first sadhus. Yeah. They had done their yogic practices and then they had evolved into whatever profession. So I read up a lot on this and I was so amazed that so long back in the Taittiriya Upanishad, they have spoken about how the body is not just a mass of flesh, blood vessels and lymph, but it is more than that, and they speak about the Panch Kosha. So we won't get into, because that's another whole topic altogether, but it's about that the physical body also is surrounded by a breath body, frequency body. So there are different levels. So if I just enumerate them, the Panch Kosha is the Annamaya Kosha, the first being the physical body which needs Anna, which needs food to survive. So that's the physical body. Beyond that we have the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the breath body. Going further, we have the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mind. Beyond that, we have what is called as the Vignamaya Kosha, which is the thought process. And beyond that is the Anandamaya Kosha, which is bliss. So there has to be penetrations problems in these layers first to affect the body. And what we do, we treat only that physical mass. So I thought I'd be doing my patients a great favor, myself a better understanding, if I looked at modern day medicine from our cultural roots, from the Vedantic roots, and it's just helped my practice. The more I've worked, the more I've understood that everything is a combination of vibrations, frequencies and energies. And while we are only working on the physical body, we are not tapping into the energy that the environment is giving us, the vibrations that we can actually use to help our patients heal better. So that's how I've begun to combine the two, and we are seeing amazing results.
Yeah, I know that because the moment you enter your clinic, there's music playing at a certain frequency. When you're doing your cosmetic surgeries or the smile makeovers, you have music playing, the chants playing. So I've seen that, and I'm sure that that is what is making you the best in your field. But what is a surprise for all of us? I've been working with you for a while, and suddenly I get to know that, oh, you're writing a book. And you put over a decade of hard work in writing this book with such a great magnitude. Again, something which is so sacred. To choose something which is so sacred, it has its own pros and cons when you're writing such a great book, right? How did that journey start? And again, why that particular field?
So, you know, one of the reasons I'm a dentist is because I wanted to do something that could combine my creative and artistic abilities with the scientific background that I have, and I think dentistry allows me that. But having said that, dentistry is a very small portion of what I do. I love creating, so whether it's baking, whether it's painting, whether it's writing, you give me, whether it's even sculpting, you give me something where I can use my fingers to mold, to write, to paint. That's when I'm at my happiest best. So I had a habit since childhood to write. Initially I was writing stories for children, and then one day there was this, the more I read up on our Vedant and I delved deep into the Indian Shastras, the more I realize that we have to package it in a new way for the younger generation, for them to be able to understand. So it hadn't started off as writing on the final Vishnu avatar. It just took its own flow, and at one point I began to believe that I was just an instrument and I was just holding the pen to paper, but the thoughts were being passed on from the universe. And I mean, it was just a very beautiful journey.
You were just a messenger here.
Absolutely. I was just, you know, जो लकड़ी का वुडन बांसुरी होती है कृष्ण की, I was just that. The notes were being played by him, the music was coming out of that, I was just holding it to my lip, that's it.
Well, Doc, one of the highlights I feel as a holistic wellness expert was the Miss World 2024. You were the official holistic expert with them. How did you share your wisdom of Vedantas with them, and what were the reactions? Because I know there were people from around the world coming together.
Yeah, so there were 124 young achievers, young women from around the world, each having dedicated their life to a very important cause. So they all had found meaning in life because they had found their purpose. And I just re-established the Vedantic way of finding purpose with them. So wellness coaches around the world will talk what is inherent to their culture. It was very important that I placed India on the map with these women because they will carry it back with them. And I borrowed one of the Mahavakyas from the Vedas, which was Tat Tvam Asi, means I am in this universe and the universe is in me. And I spoke to them about how we may be from different geographies, but essentially we are all the same. So speaking about universal love and oneness, that the 5 elements that make up the universe make us up. And those 5 elements are inherent in all of us. You can go wherever. The color of the melanin pigment may change, but the rest is all same. We are all connected at a very deeper and a more compassionate level. So when we understand that our source is the same, and we are all products of that source, universal love becomes so easy. And when you begin to identify with that, layers and curtains lift up, and we can love the other person. So it's all about being able, and what better thing to speak about India than this, that we are so welcoming of everyone, there's no judging, and love is what centers us.
Well, I guess the world leaders should also kind of inherit this learning from the Vedantas.
Absolutely.
Well, like you mentioned, it was high time that we package our scriptures in a more modern way. And you did a blend of AI, technology, and the scriptures together. And you presented it in a way that the modern generation understands. How did you put this together? And how did this transform you in last 13 years personally and professionally?
So, Dakshana, a little bit of spirituality blends with a little bit of science, but a lot of spirituality blends with a whole lot of science. If you look at the Sanatan Dharma, there's quantum physics everywhere. You know, our yogis were traveling across continents at the spur of a moment. There was something there. It was about, you know, breaking your body down to its lowest molecule and assembling it back into that way somewhere else. These are amazing yogic practices, and quantum physics today is being able to describe this. So it's just normal that you blend science fiction with what our yogis have done. And I won't call it mythology. I will say that my book has borrowed characters from the great epics. We have 8 immortals, which the Bhagavatam speaks about, that they will be on this planet. They've been there since the beginning of time through the yugas. So we've had 4 yugas. Starting from Satyug, we go to Treta Yuga, then we come to Dwarpa Yuga, and then Kalyug. Now, we have 10 Vishnu incarnations in these 4 yugas, and again it starts with 4 in Satyug, 3 in Treta Yuga, 2 in Dwarpa Yuga, and finally 1 in Kalyug. So through these ages, which is like thousands and thousands of years, we are coming back and going back. So we've had such many yugas go on. And we are looking at life in a very, very, you know, small microscopic way. We are not understanding that this universe has been there long before. It has seen everything, and it's a very intelligent universe. It's using us to fulfill its purpose rather than we being able to do anything here. So keeping all of that in mind, I thought I had a very good base to start a story where the final Vishnu avatar is awaited in Kalyug, where, you know, there's a dystopian world, the world's coming to, though I personally feel we are at least a few thousand years away from Ghor Kalyug. We're still in Kalyug, and Kalyug will take some more time, thousands of years. I mean, and we can see how bad life is already getting. So we had the right blend to create something where we could bring in science fiction along with quantum physics, AI that we are seeing today, and still have a story which is set in today, but the characters are so grounded in our roots, in our culture. So Rudra and Tarini, my 2 protagonists, they are people like you and me, but they are coming from history and they believe in their roots, you know. I think this is where we are losing a sense that somewhere in our bid to become really Western and European, we are forgetting what deep roots we come from. And I just say that Hindustan, Bharat has always been the, you know, the guru of the world. Why are we going to other places? We can have our outwardly approach, appearance, language could be Western. Keep your values Indian, keep them Eastern.
I guess I totally agree, because India is where everything was born, from your physics to your science to everything, astrology.
Vishwa Guru.
Everything.
Everything.
And we were much ahead of time, and we have proof. We have proof through our temples thousands of years ago, our scriptures. Like you also said, even an airplane in our scriptures which was visualized so long, which means it existed.
Absolutely.
But again, coming back to the question, throughout this journey, did you change?
Absolutely. I mean, when I'm asked what do you want from Antim, I say Antim has already done what it had to do for me. It's transformed me as a human being, because I've become disciplined, you know, like it's a different level of discipline that one requires to get up at Brahma Muhurat to get up at 3:30 and write. So everything, it made me read more, it made me research more, and it brought me very important. The thing that it did was it gave me a purpose. It gave me a purpose where I understood that really, learning is always inside out. It's never outside in.
Yeah.
And that's what Antim taught me, that the way to create a great external world for me is to first create a great internal world for me. To be able to meditate, to be able to get into deeper self-realization, writing notes, being able to, you write that this is wrong, this was what was wrong in the day, and then you change that, and then you realize that when you're working and writing on your own self, you don't care about what the other is doing to you, but you care about how you're reacting and how you're responding to what the other is doing. And as you write it, you reflect on it the next morning, you automatically begin to change. The minute you change, your environment changes, and the other person who's been afflicting anything on you changes. So I think it was a catharsis, because writing did start with some amount of, pain, internal struggle that I was dealing with. But the more I'm gaining on spiritual wisdom, the more happier, the more joyful I'm becoming, and manifestation is like this.
Yeah. Well, you spoke about Kalyug, and it's here. We can see the news every single day, the kind of things that are happening. Hospitals are filling up, there are diseases, stress, negativity, there's so much happening. Even though there is certain level of success in one's life, the feeling of being content or happy is missing. Do you agree to this, and do you think Kalyug is already here and it's giving us all a warning?
Yeah, of course, Kalyug is completely here. It's many thousands of years that are going to end with this Kalyug, but the fact is that we are becoming so externalized, right? I mean, we can't sit with ourselves alone. Have you observed a group of young kids today, age 6, 7, they come together to play and they're each on their own device. They don't know how to form relationships or have free play. They have to have structure, and I think growth happens in free play, growth happens in chaos. You can't structure everything, and so it's starting with the way kids are being, they're exposed to so much so soon, so early in life. I remember when we were younger, we had a curfew, like you have to come home by 7:30.
Yeah.
So when you came home at 7:30, you were home at 7:30. But today, when we tell our kids, okay, you come home at 10 in the night, they come home at 10 in the night and they put on their devices, they're out in the world. So there's no really coming home. What touch of a button exposes you to everything in this world. So then what happens is the mind gets into, ADHD is increasing, everything's increasing, and people are talking of addictions, but I think the biggest addiction today is technology addiction, and that's creating more issues, more problems with mental health. And because people have become, somewhere they're substituting that internal peace and internal happiness with external things. And that's why we're an unhappy world. We're also not forming great relationships. We are social animals. We are meant to live in society. We are meant to work together, enjoy together. But how many of us can count a few friends on our fingertips? I'm not talking about your friends on social media. No, but real friends who are there with you when you need them. That's a big bonus.
Well, you spoke about how people are disconnected in today's world. We are not happy in the inside, but also outside we wear a mask. It's a world full of social media with filters and fillers, and people are running behind money, fame, power, authority, greed. These are the things that are happening. Like I said, there's so much negativity. How can one connect with themselves, especially the spiritual way?
So there are 5 S's to leading a spiritual life, and it's very easy for most of us to adapt them. I would start with Shastra. Shastra is knowledge. So, reading, getting yourself more knowledge, getting gyan. Second is, sadhana. Sadhana is practice. Whatever you are learning, imbibe it. What you read, make it a part of you. Have a disciplined routine. So, sadhana. follow it up with a little bit of seva, where seva is selflessness. When you're not doing something for yourself but for someone else, that helps. Now, how do you do seva? In the right sangat. So you have the right people around you. And then finally, Sharanagati. You dedicate and surrender everything. So that takes care of your karmic journey also, because you begin with reading the sadhana, the shastras. When you're reading the shastras, you automatically learn the right way of life. Like we have the Bhagavad Gita, it's a manual of life. The Bhagavad Gita teaches you how to live, especially the 3rd, 10th, 13th chapter, where they're talking of karma yoga in such a defined, clean way, where, and what was relevant 5,000 years back is relevant today. It's amazing how it also, it sits so perfectly. So sadhana, practice, discipline, after reading the knowledge that you have gathered, it will begin to transform you. You'll automatically, have you ever seen a chemistry atom? When you're studying chemistry, you'll see that there are electrons, protons, there's a nucleus, right? So when you have to increase the value of that atom, one of the electrons has to jump its circle, right? You have to grow. Only when it jumps does the valency increase. Similarly, we have to change our circle. We have to keep, if you're the smartest person in the room, it's time you move from that room. So you have to keep upgrading, you have to keep changing. I'm not saying you leave your old friends behind, no. But automatically you'll see, as your vibrations increase, as your frequency increases, different people come into your life, and a lot of people are, ejected out of your life, or they slowly don't have so much significance as they had earlier. That's a state of growth, and it will touch you. The minute you begin to transform yourself, you'll see everything around you transforms. So 5 S's, I'll just go through them again. You start with Shastra, move to Sadhana with Seva, and then Sangat, and then Sharanagati. Now when you're doing all of this, it has to be coming from a place of no ego. Ki I achieved this, I did this. You have to surrender that. You surrender it to the feet of God, and that is what is expected of a seeker, of someone who's living a spiritual life, that you get detached from the fruits of what you're working so hard for. So that's why you work selfless. If somebody today asks me that what is good karma or bad karma, how would you, even differentiate between the two, I would say whatever you do for yourself is bad karma. Whatever you do for someone else is good karma. So when we begin to live like that, it becomes a collective consciousness, living in consciousness, living aware, just understanding. And there's so many ways to practice that today. I think we have a huge wave post-COVID where people are wanting to understand the deeper meaning of life and live better lives. I think there's a huge collective wave where people want to know. It's just that they don't know how to go about doing it.
But like you said, selflessly doing everything. But today we see even charity, we do it from a perspective of like, arey, jitna dete utna aayega. There's always a thought behind, okay, if I do this, I will get this.
So that again is going against the principle of karma. See, if I have to define karma, nothing defines karma better than Newton's 3rd law of motion. To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. One there, that is karma. And second, karma is at the thought level. It's not at the action level. So if you're already thinking that ये करने से मुझे ये मिलेगा, finished. You're already putting yourself up for negative karma. So karma, the right karma is where you're only thinking of what you have to do and you do not think of what you get back in return. That's correct karma. That is the phrase. I mean, in the Bhagavad Gita, so many times he's just elaborated on that, Krishna, when he's speaking to, ki you do your thing, forget about the fruits, forget about what this war is going to bring. Your karma, your dharma is that of a soldier. You will fulfill that. And this is what has been said throughout. See, a knife cures in the hand of a surgeon and it kills in the hand of a robber. So you have to see the same thing will come to you. You have to know what you're using it for. So it's the intent. Intent is paramount, is the most important thing during karma.
Yeah, I guess like even Arjuna hesitated to go and fight with his own brothers. He was like, why should I fight? I don't want to. But even though if you look at it, it was a war, it created so much devastation, right? Yet he had to fight because it was his dharma at that moment.
Because it was the right thing to do. It was dharma. It was, you were putting up, I mean, they wanted to fight forever, the Pandavas. It's the last minute he wanted to chicken out when he had to be shown the mirror. And who will do that? A good friend, a good sakha. So that's where Krishna showed him that you don't run away. Running away is not an option, not on the battlefield, because you are setting play like the kings from all over. So when we go back and look at the Mahabharata, it is not a small war that was fought in Kurukshetra, but it involved the entire world at that time. If you look at how many people died in those 18 days and how much of the world was involved, you'll realize that after, if you go back to carbon printing and dating back, after the Mahabharata war, there was sudden rise in the females and the male population had come down completely around the world, because we had lost more than 40 lakh people in those 18 days. Yes, and that time the population of the world wasn't anything like what we had today. So it was a huge mammoth war which had people coming on both sides fighting for a cause that was just, what was right and what was needed.
Well, you spoke about self-love. You know, every day there's a new book about self-help, self-love, how you can love yourself. These are the 5 things you can do. These are the 6 things you can do. And self-love is not just about applying a mask on your face and chilling with your friends. It's much deeper.
Absolutely.
And it enlightens you from within and lets you decide what is right for you and what is wrong for you. But do you think the generation today is not yet understanding what self-love is?
See, there's a thin line between being nice and being taken for granted.
That also applies in today's day and age, in every relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You need to have your boundaries.
So spirituality doesn't in any way teach you to take things lying down or become quiet. No, spirituality teaches you self-love first thing, and that you will be nice. You can it teaches you to say the same thing in a nicer way, not from anger, not from contempt. It calms you down. It makes you a better person than what you were. It's not in comparison with anybody else. So the same situation that you face in your life, you're able to do it in a calmer way with the background of all these 5 things that you've done, which I just spoke about. Of course, compassion, empathy, all of this, these things, these values grow in you the minute you begin to read and you realize that you're so small in this whole existence, that where is this ego coming from, you know. So I think there is the 5 things, again the Vedas talk about, that lead to complete annihilation, and those are coming from ignorance, ego, likes, dislikes and fear. These are the 5 things that make us suffer. So all these things, ignorance, ego, like, dislike, fear, we can take care of all of this when we become a seeker. So, you know, I think the generation today, what are they called? Millennials?
Millennials are the mothers now, but the Gen Z, Gen Alpha, everyone.
So, you know, they have some really good qualities. They are more well read, so they are more aware, and they are all trying to adopt a very holistic way of life in terms 100%. Of eating right. Suddenly there's a lot of focus on eating right, which is very good, but eating food, there's more focus coming on how much protein to have and how much carbs to have and how much fats to have, rather on what time to have, how is that food made, what are the vibrations when that food was
Netflix
cooked.
thriller movie and I'm having dal chawal. That is what happens.
Absolutely wrong. You know, the food could have been prepared with a lot of love, and it could have had the right frequency in it, but then you watch it with a horror film going on, finished. It's not going to Firstly, food has to be consumed quietly. It has to be consumed with a lot of love, a lot of gratitude. It's traveled a long way from the farms to your plate. And you should give it that kind of importance, because in the end, this is what the Annamaya Kosha requires. We require food. But the generation today is, yeah, we will eat avocados and we will have this, and they will up the right food, but they would not have it in the right way. And they're always on the phone. Even if they're not watching something, they're on the phone talking, or they're walking around and eating. Hollywood films have really made this big. Everyone, you know, the main actor, the main protagonist is running around eating, doing something, bashing, eating, doing. I mean, it's all misplaced. Treat your body like a temple. And when you go to a temple, you go in quiet with no other thoughts. Similarly, feed yourself absolutely in quiet, in peace. I also say, within a house, on the dining table, all the phones should be placed somewhere else, and everybody should first say a little prayer of gratitude, of thank you, and then enjoy that 15 minutes of meal. Agar us din kuch galat taste nahi kuch bana, usko don't say anything about it. Finish eating, and after that you can say probably there was a little less salt, next time be careful. A lot of us are so engrossed with, oh my god, ye theek nahi bana, throw it. You know, the emotion behind food is very, very important. So the younger generation should stop eating after, follow the circadian rhythm, which is what they are not following. And then they say, we're eating right, how is it that we're getting sick? Because you're eating at any time of the hour. So that is one thing they're doing wrong. They're not cultivating relationships, I feel. They're more and like you said, that, you know, self-love is being taken in a very different way.
Is it more materialistic now?
Absolutely. And also, you can be full of self-love and yet not be selfish. But today, probably being selfish is being counted for self-love. So, you have to first work on yourself to be able to love yourself first, you know. Grow every day and work on yourself to the point where you feel that, okay, I'm ready to have someone else in my life because I'm so full of love that I can share that love. I feel two incomplete people who are devoid, who have, you know, voids within them, come together thinking that we will fill up each other's spaces and we will be a happy couple is a absolute formula for disaster. It's only two complete beings who are completely fulfilled within themselves and are happy can make a good power couple. When you're not trying to, you know, it cannot be a symbiotic relationship, because in a marriage or in a couple story or even in any friendship, there will be, you know, I actually say friendship में कुछ वजह ही नहीं होनी चाहिए. अगर वजह है तो फिर दोस्ती क्या? It should be without any wajah. But today, the way the younger generation, I'm amazed that I have a few patients, younger girls, who look more at a list that the guy they marry or the guy they see has to tick all these things. This is not what we were grown up to believe, and we found ourselves great partners and long-term relationships, because the foundation of any relationship should be based on love. It cannot be based on anything else. Anything else that forms a relationship will end in disaster.
Well, like we are talking about today's generation, relationships are failing. There are divorces everywhere. Somewhere there's a fear if marriages are lasting or not. And this generation is also swaying away from having a commitment or getting into a marriage. Why is that happening? Is it also just the Kalyug, or there is some reason why people are impatient, or, you know, is it because they have too many options? Why are relationships failing?
I think self-love has been misplaced by being selfish, and the next person in your life is more of a project that you want to transform or change rather than accept. I think the biggest thing in any relationship is acceptance. When you accept, you understand that the only thing you can change is yourself. not the other person. But if your pursuit becomes to change the other person, you're going towards disaster. So a marriage, a relationship is all about compromise, and it's about working together. Two fulfilled, happy individuals working together in life, sharing a beautiful family with the same values, and that's how it's meant to be. But today what it's becoming is the materialistic things are somehow being optioned in, and the value systems are being optioned out. So people are choosing in the beginning rather than someone who will fulfill their value systems. They're looking at someone who will get them the next BMW, the next bigger car. So they already have these lists, so they're not choosing for the right reasons. I say the only reason to get married or to have any relationship is for love. The other thing that I say very clearly is relationships can only exist between equals.
Yeah.
So if someone's feeling higher and the other's feeling lower, there won't be a great relationship. That's where financial independence for a woman comes in very strongly. And a financially independent woman and a financially independent man should not bring in their ego into their relationship. Yeah. So that's another thing one has to be able to tackle, because with financial independence today, if you've not worked on yourself, comes ego. And we already spoke about the disastrous effects of ego. Today most relationships are having ego clashes. If I am doing this, why can't he do this? And let's face it, that men are built differently. They come from Mars, women come from Venus.
Yes, I love the book.
Yeah, and we have different, absolutely, you know, we are made differently. The feminine qualities are different than the masculine qualities, and we each, the male and the female, have a combination of both the qualities. Yeah. So today's generation of dads are doing a lot better than 100%. What our dads did. They're more involved, they're doing, so there's a lot of good happening. I think one needs to focus on surrendering and taking away the ego aspect, and we'll be good, because there's a lot more awareness. Yeah. So, and they have, you know, aaj Google auntie ban gayi hai, that's a problem. Like everybody who had a home auntie, or you know, we lived in large families, we had someone to talk to who would, they say a child requires a village to grow up. You had someone who would give you authentic gyan passed down ages, and that would absolutely, I to believe in Dadi Ma ke nuske completely, in everything. But today all that has been replaced by Google auntie. Everybody just Googles everything, the young mother, they will, so that anybody can write whatever they want on Google.
Yeah, there are applications which tell you what to do every single day during your pregnancy, all the 9 months.
For everything. Yeah. So please be very, very steadfast of where you're consuming your knowledge from. And definitely go to the real resources. So today, like we were talking on self-love also, self-love has to be first a feeling of being absolutely true to who you are. When you look in the mirror, there are no filters. And if you can be with yourself the way you are with the outside world, no masks, no filters, that's the number one thing of self-love. Yeah. Where you're absolutely the same person that you are in front of everybody. You don't mold, change and put on layers to please someone else. And your personality should be so good that you should want to spend time with yourself. Yeah. If you don't like spending time with yourself, how would you expect others to spend time with
yourself?
So that is self-love. It's not selfish. It's not going and buying lakhs of makeup worth, this is self-love, or great jewelry. No, you start from the inside. Like I said, knowledge always is inside out, not outside in. And then you won't need those cosmetics to glow your skin. Yeah. If you're full of love, your skin will radiate love.
I guess it's just the aura that you have. Absolutely. Once you dive within yourself and you are on that spiritual journey. Absolutely. When you walk in a room full of people, there's this light that glitters in your eyes.
Yeah. You've seen couples in love. Yeah. You know, you can tell there's something about them. So love is such a magical thing, and those of us who are touched by it are really blessed. So keep it and grow it. I just feel the only reason for life is love and peace, and keep that at any extent.
We'll do a quick session.
Yes.
Which is going to be like break it or keep it. I'm going to give you the options. You have to tell me how these are relevant and maybe quick one-line answers for each.
Sure.
So break it or keep it, the Breaking Stereotypes edition. Traditional book reading.
Keep it. Absolutely. There was a new research which showed that all the millionaires of the world, if you ask them one habit that they all had, they all read 3 books a month.
So yeah.
Yep.
Book reading. Chanting.
The way our scriptures have prescribed for us to grow in this yoga. For Kalyug, it is chanting. That's the easiest way anybody can actually achieve satyugti, move ahead in life. Chant. Today, that's all. We don't need to do big elaborate yagas or do anything else. No yagnas, no nothing, just chant. That is the medication for Kalyug.
Okay. Social media validation.
Who needs it?
But the younger generation does. Or the people on social media do it.
It's such a farce.
Okay. Self-love.
We spoke about it.
Yeah. So 100% yes. Ekadashi fasting.
Absolutely scientific. So let me tell you about Ekadashi fasting. Ekadashi follows that you fast on the 11th day of the lunar cycle, and the moon governs the water bodies of this planet, and also we are more than 74% water in our body. On that particular day, the atmospheric pressure is the lowest, so we can fast easily without actually feeling depleted.
Yeah.
Also, that one day when we fast, we allow our body to recover, the digestive system to get rest, the immunity to improvise, and all the toxins to be excreted. So it's fabulous, it's completely scientific and should be done twice a month.
Suffering as a path to enlightenment.
So according to the Sanatan Dharma, the Vedic traditions, suffering happens because of 5 reasons. We spoke about that: ignorance, ego, like, dislike, fear. All of these can be completely turned around by inner seeing, by inner realization, by self-realization. The minute that goes in, you move the direction from outside to inside, you begin to realize, and you grow. Suffering brings with it a lot of growth, because you suddenly, everything else stops, and whatever you put focus on whatever is the cause of your suffering. And if we go beyond that and then try to understand why this is happening, most of us, you'll see, suffer the same things. If somebody is going through a bad relationship, they'll continuously have multiple bad relationships in their life, yet they don't understand what they need to change. Some of us are always short of money.
Yeah.
Today, 10 years later, 20 years later, we have the same patterns. We come with our samskaras. And that is what we need. We are here in this world to change that. And we forget that. We keep repeating the same mistakes. So suffering puts you in place. It teaches you that, boss, it's a signal. Learn, change, adapt, move ahead. Yeah.
And when you don't, you keep repeating those cycles. The notion of karma.
We spoke about it. The notion of karma is actually in the intent. If your intent is clean and pure and it's with surrender, you do, see, very often we misplace karma with dharma.
Yeah.
Dharma is the right thing to do. Karma is how you do it, with what intent you do it. So karma happens at the thought level. Even if a wrong thought will be picked up by this great universe and it will come back to you. Yeah. So love and peace for everybody. That's the only karma.
Absolutely. Well, Doc, we are talking about spirituality. We are talking about how we need to seek and how we need to go within ourselves and how we need to find the purpose of our life. But while doing all of this, is it possible to aspire, or is it okay to aspire wealth or aspire success or monetary success or happy relations? Is it okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I mean, spirituality is no path to poverty.
It's nothing like you have to be
No
like a monk
way.
in a temple.
No way. It's such a wrong misconception that people have कि somehow कि अगर हम spiritual हो रहे हमारे पास पैसे नहीं आएंगे. Boss, the minute you get spiritual, you begin to grow. And you will see that you begin to grow in all spheres of your life. You have better relationships, you attract wealth. It's the law of wealth, it's the law of power, it's the law of enforcement, it's the law of manifestation. You're opening up all your channels, you're opening up all the chakras within you. You become a place of you know, it's magical the way spirituality affects you, because see, today for me to start spirituality, I must have done some work in my previous lifetimes. And I'll pick up from where I have. It'll take me a few years to take over the dust that the soul has, you know, got on over this life. But you cannot have someone who's a new soul absolutely turn to spirituality. It is again the samskaras. It's about what we've carried with us. So for some people, you know, it's so easy. It's so easy to pick up spirituality, and that could be your, you know, the most the party goer in your group, someone who you like, Arey, how did this person suddenly become spiritual? But probably that person's had lifetimes of having worked on it. So it will not call on to you unless you're prepared and ready for it.
I get this a lot. Like, you do fasting, okay, we are at a dinner table and like I'm not eating, it's Ekadashi today. I get this. So like, why? I get this a lot.
Yeah, especially, you know, if it's an occasion and you go and you don't eat, everybody
anything.
looks down upon you. So nowadays I don't tell anybody. I keep my plate and I hand it to someone else once that offending person is gone who's judging you. So that's another thing, you know. You learn not to argue with those who you know you're not going to be able to change. So you slowly let everybody do what they are doing.
Well, like you said, there was a karmic reason why you are spiritual in today's life. But where did you learn this from? Did you have a guru who told you this is the path that you need to walk? And do we as, you know, people, as human beings, do we need a guru in our life?
Absolutely. I think a guru makes the understanding of life a lot easier. And you can never choose your guru. When the time is right, the guru will appear in front of you. You can't go searching for the guru. Because जो होना है वही होगा आपके पास. You know, people run from this place to that place searching. You sit still, sit in one place, do your karma, do your dhyan, do your things, and you will get your guru will come. The guru will present himself in front of you in the most magical way. Today when we are going to a new place, we're with the help of technology, we can put it on Google Maps and it shows us the right way to reach that destination. Look at your guru as a Google map. He will get you to your destination without you going an unnecessarily left and unnecessary right. A guru in your life does not change your karma. A guru in your life teaches you how to accept your karma. So if you're looking for someone who's going to be a magician and will take away all suffering and take away everything wrong from your life, you're not ready for the right guru. Then those wrong kind of people will keep coming into your lives. A guru will stand by you, but will teach you how to deal with your own problems with yourself, by yourself. And this is the essence of the Sanatan Dharma. The way we were taught things were through Shruti and through Smriti. Through word of ear, you just hear it and you pass the oral tradition down. And that's how our Vedas were. A guru spoke, the Shishyas listened, then over time they became the gurus and they taught. So to attract a guru into your life, you have to do the right kind of things and your guru will manifest and then you'll be blessed. Having a guru is your direct connect to the higher force.
Yeah. Do you think in the ancient times, like the kings and the queen, every decision that they took, when to fight a war, when to go out, or what to do at what time, they had their astrologers, they had all kinds of people telling them what to do. Is that also something, were they the gurus in their lives telling them what to do when?
Absolutely. I think the people of those eras were a lot more learned. And spirituality today, we are making it a very everyday word. It wasn't that in the past. Everybody didn't have access to spirituality. अब जिसके पास खाना, रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान नहीं हो, उससे क्या spirituality बात करोगे आप? तो उन ज़माने में, उन दिनों में, in the Satyug, in the Treta, in the Dwarpa, gurus and spiritual gyan was only for the Raja Maharajas, because they didn't have to worry about where the next meal is coming from. So compared to those days, today's day and age of Kalyug is a great transformative time for everybody. You don't have to be a Raja Maharaja to get spiritual gyan. It's accessible to everyone. And we spoke about this, that the only medication for today's day and age is mantra, chanting. Get one mantra, make it your, even if you don't know anything else, just Om, the universal sound. Just saying Om over a period of 100 times, of 150 times every day, you see the transformation it brings in your life. So we have this all available within this great bhumi called Bharatma. And we should access the knowledge. We are in a pure land of higher vibrations. Let's begin to tune into that.
Yeah, I guess I remember this about Virat Kohli in his younger times, It was like, मैं पूजा पाठ वाला लगता हूँ क्या? And now you see him chanting, you see him in all the temples, meeting all these spiritual gurus. So I guess it's a sign for all of us that it's time to tap into ourselves, tap into the tune that you mentioned. There's so much exposure in India. You can go to temples, you can explore, and there's so much information everywhere. We were talking about relationships between millennials. Now let me come to the parenting part. We are somebody who are stuck between the traditions, the culture, the heritage of Sanatan Dharma, or like you say, the Indian culture, and yet give the kids exposure to the modern world, to the Western world. What is your advice to the millennial parents? How can they become better parents by giving them an exposure to both the worlds?
So मुझे ये confusion समझ में नहीं आता कि by teaching them the Indian cultural roots, you're keeping them away from modernization or modern world. That's a misnomer, that's a myth. सबसे पहले सनातन धर्म इज़ नॉट अ रिलीजन बट इट्स अ वे ऑफ लाइफ. अगर वो पेरेंट्स ही नहीं समझे हों, उनको ही नहीं पता कि आजकल के बच्चे तो बहुत शार्प हैं, दे विल आस्क कि व्हाई आर वी डूइंग दिस. इफ द पेरेंट डजंट नो, they will not do it in the right way. You have to understand why, get to know about it, practice it, and then adopt it. If it works for you, do it. If it doesn't work for you, put it aside. The minute you begin to look at things that way, you will see that you will begin to live that life. And the kids are sponges. You live the right life. You don't need to tell them do this, do. अगर आप घर में prayer नहीं कर रहे हो, you do not believe in a higher force, and then you talk to children about mental health, these kids are going to be coming from a place of less, because they have seen nothing in the house which talks of there will be somebody who will hold on to us and things will change, this time will pass. See, somewhere we're doing too much for our kids. This helicopter parenting and not letting them even say no. I mean, parents today don't say no to kids. They do not. The kids are kind of rose-colored glasses on their eyes. They don't understand that hardship is a part of life. And with good comes bad. Yeah. Let's understand that total darkness and total light are both the same things. Have you ever gone and walked out in the sun and just let the sun on your eyes? You get blinded. Yeah. Absolutely the same where total darkness is. You can't see. So too much of dark, too much of light means the same thing. You've got to get the right balance. So too much of culture with no modernization, too much of modernization with no culture, Recipe for disaster, balance. Balance is the key to life, and do not do anything you don't believe in. First adopt it, make it you, make it a part of you, and then you don't need to teach it to the kids. They'll imbibe it from you. So live as role models at home. And you know, we have such great scriptures. घर में कुछ रखो, सही किताबें रखो. You know, we have, the more you dive into this, the more you realize that we have manuals for everything. How to grow children. It may not be saying parenting for the millennials, that may not be the topic, but it is relevant, then it's relevant. So what is it that we really require? We, Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras spelt it out, wrote it very well. And here again, so Dakshina, Patanjali, I don't mean Baba Ramdev Patanjali, because you know a lot of you guys will say, oh, Patanjali. So Patanjali was a yogi. He lived thousands of years back and he wrote the Yoga Sutras. Now in the Yoga Sutras, he's talked about the way to live, everything, and there are 8 arms to that. There are 8 arms to the right way of life. So the 8 arms starts with yama, that is moral discipline. कैसे रहना है, क्या चीज़ों को मना करना है. It gives you the whole, every detailed thing. Yama is followed by niyam. Niyam is observance, observance of a certain way of life. So yama, niyam. Then you come to the asanas, which are the bodily postures, which today everybody calls as yoga. Yoga is, asanas is just the physical postures of a very big topic, which is yoga. Asana के बाद आता है pranayam, breath control. So you start with yama, niyam, asanas, and then pranayam. After that comes pratyahara. Pratyahara is followed by dharana, dhyan, and then samadhi. So samadhi is the final thing that we are all aspiring for, which is the unition with the heavenly body. So which is the universal form that we want to go back to. That is bliss. But how do we start? We start with the beginning and then we reach there. आजकल हम लोग क्या चाह रहे हैं? We are going to meditation classes. The 7th point in the 8 ka list. How can a mind that's a monkey mind roaming right here, there, suddenly go into meditation? मुझे तो बहुत हंसी आती है इस बात पे that there is no, you know, there's no prerequisite to go to a meditation class. Everybody can go to a meditation class. Somebody who cannot sit for 5 minutes quiet is attending meditation class. So there is a way to do things, and if you follow it the right way, you will automatically live a life of abundance. You'll live a life which is the best life ever, and your children will see that. What do kids today need? They need a wholesome, loving environment. If their parents love each other, that's it. The biggest stability you can give your children is a great environment, great love between the two parents. That child who has got that will go out in this world and achieve. But that is what is lacking. Now we're not talking spirituality, this is basics. This is basics. But वही नहीं मिल रहा और फिर हम चाह रहे हैं कि everybody has to go for chess class. Everybody has to go for robotics class. And these so-called IQ chasing mothers, they forget that EQ and SQ is something. Emotional quotient nahi ho, then you will see the child being intellectually very, very great, but not able to handle relationships, not able to handle any kind of no. Those are the kids who get depressed. They are the ones who attempt suicide. If everything is so right with today's generation, why is there an increase in suicide rates? Because there's no grounding, and grounding comes from home. Grounding comes from the fact that our parents love each other, and yet we will have bad times as we have good times. Why is it that we protect our kids from everything bad? Why should we shun? The balance of life is when there's good and bad. You cannot have only everything good. So this is what we need to teach our parents.
The sun rises every day, the sun sets every day. And like you said, emotional quotient. Parents are so busy preparing them for the world of money or world of intelligence. but we forget and we fail to see that they're not ready to face relationships or friendships, and they cannot hear a no, or maybe no, lack of boundaries, or expectations are higher, and then disappointments, and that leads to depression, anxiety, and everything.
Such a person also has a lot of, insecurities.
Yeah.
Because you suddenly begin to feel that the ego again comes in, that I'm too smart for the other person. You begin to judge. And those are coming from insecurities because you don't know how to handle people around your life. Yeah. What is the point of being the most moneyed, most successful man lonely at the top of a mountain?
Yeah. But is it really lonely at the top? Because there are sayings that it's lonely at the top.
I don't know. I'm very happy where I am, surrounded by people I love, and I don't aspire to, again, it is what is it that we look at when we talk success. Success is a word which can have many ramifications.
Yeah.
Success in what? Have you lived your successful life? Have you lived your best life ever? Have you made memories, or have you collected things? This is more important.
Yeah.
And for me, making memories is more important than collecting properties.
You also mentioned about yoga being a much larger scope than just pranayama or just doing asanas. Can you elaborate a bit on that?
So we just spoke about the 8 stages, and each stage changes you. So I started with yama, and we end with complete bliss, which is the last stage of yoga. हम लोग आजकल क्या कर रहे हैं? We are only concentrating on the asanas. Asanas are good, but they are only to look after the physical body. We need to do more, and this looks after everything. So when we do dharana, what is dharana? Dharana is concentration. You need dharana before dhyan.
Yeah.
You need to be able to concentrate, to be able to focus before you meditate. And only when you reach that nishkalp stage in higher meditation, that you come down to what is called as samadhi, which is bliss. You cannot jump different things. So if you're doing yoga just to change your, the physical expression of your body, you're limiting its magnifications. Yoga over a period of time will help you calm down, but I'm amazed. I see a lot of yoga teachers who are brilliant. They have great bodies, but up there, yoga hasn't worked on them because they're concentrating only on the asana. Somewhere the act of doing that asana, take it slow. See, yoga actually brings down the way you think. It slows you down. It slows down your breath. So always follow your yogic practice with pranayam, with your breath. Then you calm down and you begin to enjoy the bliss of those asanas, and then it works on your mind. So I just say that yoga is a great thing, the asanas are a great thing, as long as you inhale it and don't run from one place to your yoga class and then go out again. Yoga is a state of being. It's a state of what stays with you after you've left your yoga mat.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's how you react, it's how you respond, it's how you carry yourself. What is the point if you're the best yoga teacher on the yoga mat, your asanas are perfect, you can do back bends, you can do everything very well, but 5 minutes later you're screaming at your staff for not getting you your coffee hot enough? Then it hasn't worked on you. So yoga is a state of being. It's how you carry yourself and what you do with your place in this world.
Now I'm going to give you 2 options. This is going to be difficult. You will have to pick one, okay? Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads?
Start with the Bhagavad Gita. It's a better way to start because it's very easy. There are many different translations, interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita. For a newcomer, start with the Bhagavad Gita and then move to the Upanishads.
I told you it's going to be difficult to catch on to one. Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga?
Different strokes for different folks. So, very different, both of them, leading to the same way. There are in fact 4 kinds of yoga that have been prescribed: Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Gyan Yoga. Each individual aspires and adapts to a different kind. For me, Karma Yoga.
Shiva or Vishnu?
I'll choose both. Shiva as my father and Vishnu as my sakha or my lover. Why not both? Shiva, you pray to Shiva for the non-materialistic things in life. You pray to Shiva for dhyan, for spiritual upliftment. You pray to Shiva to detach you from everything. But this whole life, you have to join the hands and you have to be in the company of Vishnu. Because everything that you want in this world, whether it's wealth, Lakshmi only comes when Vishnu is there. Yeah. Whether there's Gyan, Saraswati will also bless her brother Vishnu. So anything that this world requires has to come from Vishnu. So what you're asking for, what you're wanting is what you pray. And I think in India, this is so amazing that we have a God for everything.
Yeah.
You know, so depending on what you want, you pray to that deity. But having said that, I'll just put it in a cleaner way, that Sthan, Sthiti or Samay. Sthan, Sthiti or Samay. Sthan kya hai? Sthan hai Brahmlok. We are in this Brahmand. We are in this place called Earth. Over here, Brahma. So he is the God, the deity of the Sthan. Sthiti is the situation. Now who's the God of that? Vishnu.
Vishnu.
And Samay, Mahakal, Shiva. So स्थिति, समय और स्थान कभी भी 3 एक साथ वापस नहीं आते उसी जगह पे. So like today we may have this environment where you are sitting over here with me at this time and we are doing this podcast. But the same things will not align together in the same way tomorrow.
Yeah.
There will be something different. Even if you come back, okay, we're doing a podcast again, your clothes will be different, my intent will be different, our conversation. So make good use of the 3 coming together. All 3 give different indications. So I think I'll be selfish. All 3, not just Vishnu and Shiva, but even Brahma.
Yeah. Meditation or chanting?
Again, you start with chanting and mantra recitation and move to meditation. How can you meditate if you don't know how to chant?
Yeah. Kundalini awakening or mindfulness practice?
Oh my God. Kundalini awakening, deep word. It's a nuclear emission. You can't get into Kundalini awakening unless you've had some mindful practice, sadhana. Yeah. So only when you're able to energize yourself with a regular meditative sadhana or some mindful way where you open up your chakras and your energies and your vibrations, should the Kundalini be awakened. Otherwise, it's like Visport. It's like a nuclear emission gone wrong. Yeah. Those guys who just dive deep into Kundalini awakening without doing any of the prerequisites for it, they are disasters. They can't handle it themselves. They go mad. Okay. A lot of things happen. So step-wise growth for everything.
I guess that's the takeaway from the whole session. Whatever you're doing, go stepwise. Go one thing at a time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Aarti or Havan?
So what's the difference? Havan is creating a sacred environment, creating a place of worship to be able to connect to the higher source. Now the fire, the sacred fire is your messenger. Yeah. The sacred fire helps you connect to the higher source. So first you light up the Havan, you pray, you get in connection with the higher source. Once your mind has completely slowed down and settled and able to meditate, see, we begin with a form of worship, but you reach a point later when you've been meditating on a form that you can even do a formless kind of worship. You know, when you come to ekagrata, when you come to that feeling of universal oneness, and mantra actually helps you reach a stage when you light up the fire, just that fire evokes the senses of this universal oneness. So once you have that, then you pray and you do arti of the higher thing. So Havan and then arti.
Okay. Vedas or Puranas?
Different strokes for different folks. Whatever is easier for you.
Surya Namaskar or Pranayam?
Surya Namaskar first, so that your Surya Namaskar gets you into a quicker breathing. It activates your body, and Surya Namaskar is phenomenal. I feel it's that magic vitamin pill for women of all ages.
Yeah.
I don't take any medication, I don't take any multivitamins, I don't take anything. I just do my 40 Surya Namaskars a day. And that keeps me replenished, it keeps all my hormones are fine, everything. So I think Surya Namaskars is a magic pill for women. But after you finish your Surya Namaskars, you have to gradually slow down. You can do a bit of, get into Shavasana, just even for 5 minutes, and then you do your pranayam, because that brings your breath down. So don't do pranayam and then do a Surya Namaskar. Wait 15 minutes. And essence of doing everything is in the right way at the right time.
Yeah. Okay. Temples or pilgrimages?
Prayer at home.
Okay.
I would go to the temple to see how they've dressed up Bhagwan, but that's it, and to enjoy the yummy prasad. But no, you can't pray at a temple. And हम पूरी दुनिया घूम लें, हमें जो चैन, जो शांति, एक हमारे घर के एक स्थान ढूंढ लो, अपने घर में एक जगह ढूंढ लो जहाँ तुम एब्सोल्युटली क्वाइटली चुपचाप बैठ के मेडिटेट कर पाओ, कॉन्सेंट्रेट कर पाओ, वो तुम्हारी पिलग्रिमेज डेस्टिनेशन है.
Detachment or devotion?
Detached devotion.
I like it. Perfect. Okay, that brings us to the end of the episode. A transformative episode, I must say. Spiritual, personal, professional, everything together, just to align and just to help people achieve everything they want in the right way. So thank you so much, Dr. Neetika, for joining us today and giving us your wisdom and sharing all the beautiful insights that have been lost somewhere. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Sudakshana. Over here, I'd just like to say that I'm just a seeker. I'm no guru. Whatever I have spoken of is what I have consumed, what I have inhaled. And I'm just a little bit of this, little bit of a seeker in this vast ocean of Vedantic knowledge. So I'm following my path, you follow yours, and see what fits for you best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family and keep showering with love. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and remember, all the love and happiness is within yourself. See you for the next episode.